Jesus Christ and Krishna consciousness enlighten us. So please, if you'd like to take a seat. And I just want to briefly introduce Krishna Premarupa Prabhu. I guess many of you know him very well. Krishna Premarupa Prabhu, he lives in this temple and he has been serving as a temple president for 14 years. And in 2021 he handed this service down, and now he's more in the role of a teacher, but still continuing with management services, but more on an international level, international platform in our international society. Krishna Premarupa Prabhu is born and raised in Switzerland. He's a local, and he's a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The Bible also?
Yeah, please come a little bit closer. Try.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrachachana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Ich nehme sonst gut das Tisch. Ist okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. So welcome from my side. Nice to see so many guests and devotees. We were not sure. Christmas, maybe everyone is at home, but nice you find your way to the temple. So, yeah, I thought since it's Christmas, we could speak about Jesus Christ, especially because Srila Prabhupada had great appreciation for him. Srila Prabhupada would say that Jesus is a Shakti Avesh avatar, and we will hear about what does it mean. But Prabhupada also said that Jesus is our guru, our spiritual teacher. So in that sense, there's many things we can learn, and it's our tradition in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. If there is a tithi, like a special day of when a great saint was born or left, then usually we remember that saint. And so I thought, why not speaking about Jesus, and also the connection to of course, to Bhakti Yoga, because what we're doing is here's Bhakti Yoga. And actually, interesting enough, Jesus preached Bhakti. That's what he did. He spoke about loving God and loving your neighbor like you're the other person. So that's basically Bhakti. So we will try to explore this a little bit. So we'll talk about something Prabhupada said about Jesus. Also, we'll talk about his qualities and also his teachings, and then compare it to our tradition. Does it sound okay for you? Yeah? Okay, so I will start with one shloka, which describes the qualities of a saintly person. In Sanskrit, they call this person sadhu. Sadhu means good. Sometimes we say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good, very good. So sadhu means good, and sadhu also means someone who has saintly characteristic. So that's from the Kapila Shiksha, from the 3rd canto, chapter 25, text 21. Titikshava karunika surida sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadava sadubhushanaha. It's interesting, the word sadhu bhushanaha. Bhushanaha means adorned with sublime characteristic or decorated. Like sometimes people are decorated with necklaces or with some jewelries, nicely decorated. But a Vaishnava is decorated by good qualities, like the ornaments of a person who is spiritually advanced is that he is decorated by his good qualities. So what are these good qualities? The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. That's a good person. And it's nice, he is tolerant, merciful. Sarva dehinam means he's suridha, he's friendly to all living entities. He's a friend to everyone. And he's Shanta, he's always peaceful. So Prabhupada comments, there's a longer purport, I'll read part of it. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country from door to door preaching. Be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for fulfilling, for self-realization or Krishna conscious. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned soul are not prepared to receive transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They do not like it. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces, and Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant Nityananda was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai. But still, they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. Om Jnanatimidandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Pistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the text that we just read, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes how a person who loves God, a person who is with divine consciousness, he's thinking always of the well-being of others. And that's interesting, because what were we mostly doing? We are mostly interested in our own well-being, no? Like usually we are thinking about, what can I do? How can I be happy? How can I earn money? It's always about me. But a sadhu is someone who is always thinking, what about the others? Of course, the point is that he himself is satisfied, because he is connected with God, with Krishna. He feels that satisfaction in his own heart, and therefore he is able to actually think about others. Mostly we are so busy with ourselves, but then those who actually are connected with Krishna or with God, then they start to think about others. How can I help others to also become more peaceful? But the problem is that most people don't like to be helped. In this world, people are not so much interested. And then those who try to help others, they get in trouble. That's what Prabhupada speaks. And he mentioned Jesus Christ, he mentioned Haridas and Nityananda, and we will look at these examples. But before we do so, let me just read some statements by Srila Prabhupada about Jesus, which he mentioned in his purport. Jesus Christ was such a great personality, the Son of God, the representative of God. He had no fault, still he was crucified. He wanted to deliver God consciousness, but in return they crucified him. They were so thankless, Prabhupada says. They could not appreciate his preaching, but we appreciate him. and give him all honor as a representative of God. Prabhupada says. No, we appreciate it. Of course, the message of Christ preached was just according to this particular time, place, and country, and just suited to the particular group of people. But certainly he is the representative of God. Therefore we adore Lord Jesus Christ and offer our obeisances to him. Namo Namaha. So we offer our respect to him. Once in Melbourne, a group of Christian ministers came to visit me. They asked me, "What is your idea of Jesus Christ?" I told him, "He is our Guru. He is preaching God consciousness, so he is our spiritual master." The ministers were very much appreciative. No, they liked it. Oh wow. This Indian, no, this Hindu says that our Lord is his Guru. That's like amazing. And Prabhupada says, actually anyone who is preaching God's glories, anyone who helps others to come closer to God, he needs to be appreciated as a Guru. And one should not think that such a person is an ordinary man. That in Purana, there is a statement that someone who thinks that the deity, the forms on the altar, they are just wood, or someone who thinks that the Ganges water is ordinary water, or someone who thinks that the holy names like Hare Krishna is ordinary sound, or someone who thinks that a guru is an ordinary person, makes a great offense. This is a very demoniac mentality, or not very elevated understanding. So certainly Jesus was not an ordinary person, and therefore he's accepted as a great person. And then Prabhupada says, Lord Jesus Christ, he is Shakti Avesh Avatar. And that is an interesting term, and I just briefly want to speak about that. So what is first of all, what is an avatar? How would you define avatar? And it had nothing to do with Hollywood. We know the word avatar nowadays because of the movie, but yeah.
Avatar is an incarnation of God.
An incarnation of God, yes, yes. Avatar actually means that when God comes down into this world, and avatar means that God comes out of his own will. He desires to come, and he comes into the material world just to help us. Like we come to this world and we take birth again and again, not because of our desire. I mean, also because of our desire, but mainly because of our karma. Because we have to, we are forced. But God comes to help us. So this is an avatar when the Lord descends into this world. So, and the specific, so what does it mean now? Is Jesus God? Is Jesus non-different from God? And of course, the Christians, they would say yes, because they have the understanding of this Trinity. Like there is three. There is God, there is Jesus, the Son, and there is the Holy, how do you call it? Holy Spirit? Or, yeah, Heilige Geist. So there's a Trinity which they have understanding. And so they would say, yes, Jesus is God. Like God has become human and actually is not different from God. So when we say that Jesus was Shakti Vesh Avatar, do we say the same? Yes and no. So he was an avatar, so in that sense he is like God, but no, because he's a living entity. So we make this distinction here. And Shakti Avesh, Shakti means strength or power, and Avesh means someone who is awarded with, or someone who carries Shakti. So Jesus, Shakti Avesh Avatar, is a living entity, a person who has been empowered by God with some divine powers to do some specific task in this world. So in that sense, he is a human, but he also is a representative of God, because he has the same power as God. And that makes him very powerful. I mean, like who can say that he has the same power as God? No, I can't say, and most probably you also not, right? But Jesus had, because he was empowered by God. And of course, Srila Prabhupada and any great saintly persons, they are empowered by God. So that's in Shakti Avesh Avatar. So we have this understanding of Chinta Veda Veda Tattva, that we are one and at the same time different from God. No, we are divine beings. All living entities are divine, but then God is always different. He is the source, origin from everything. And even Jesus himself said, "I'm the Son of God." No, he never claimed himself to be God. He's always said, "I am Son of God." So we understand him as Son of God. And Prabhupada would say, there is Krishna, there is Jesus. Krishna says he's the father of all living entity. Jesus says, "I'm the Son of God." So what's the problem? Krishna is the father, Jesus is the son. Very simple logic. And of course we are all son and daughters of Krishna. We are all brothers and sisters. And Jesus is one of them. But he's very special, because he's a Shakti Avesh Avatar, and we are not. So that's the difference. Okay, so much on Tattva. Tattva means the truth or reality, on our understanding of Jesus Christ. Now, Prabhupada spoke about this important quality of the ability to tolerate and be merciful. No? As Lord Jesus Christ, Prabhupada says, we should hate the sin, not the sinner. That is a very nice statement, because the sinner is under illusion. He is mad. If we hate him, how can we deliver him? Nice point, no? Hate the sin and not the sinner. Because if you hate the person, how can you help him? And you don't. There is no need to be, hate the person, because we are all living entities, and we are all, in the essence, we are all spirit souls with good qualities. But someone who behaves in a bad way, that means he's covered by ignorance and does something wrong out of his because he's in illusion. So that's something that it's important, and that attitude of trying to always be merciful and try to help others certainly is very much there in the example of Jesus and any sadhu. But Prabhupada says that in the purport that we read in the beginning, that sometimes they meet all kind of troubles and difficulties. And Prabhupada mentioned Thakur Haridas, Nityananda, and Jesus Christ, right? So what kind of troubles did Haridas Thakur face? Anyone remembers? Haridas is a great saint in our tradition. Yes.
They punished him over 22 marketplaces.
Yes, that's quite severe. This is about 500 years ago in India, and these were Muslim rulers, and they had the practice that if someone was a criminal, they would publicly punish that person. Why would they do that publicly? So that others can see. Don't do it. If you do the same thing, you also will be punished. So what they would usually, and one way to punish and kill a person is by just beating him with with a cane, with a stick. Prabhupada mentioned a stick, or with a peitsche. What is the English word? A whip, yeah. And then just whipping a person or beating a person brutally till the person actually dies. So that's quite heavy way of punishment. So they would do that, and Haridas Thakur was punished. What was his crime? What was the crime of Haridas Thakur?
He was chanting the holy name.
He chanted Hare Krishna. Be careful next time you chant Hare Krishna. No, but that was because it was he was born as a Muslim, but he changed his belief and started to chant Hindu names of God, and the local ruler didn't like it. No. And actually, they punished him and told him, you just have to again convert back to Islam, and then you will be free. And you have to stop chanting this Hare Krishna. Then we will let you go. But if you continue chanting this Hare Krishna, then we will kill you. What did Haridas Thakur say? he would say, one cannot do anything other than what the Supreme Lord desires. Know for certain that the Lord awards the result of one's offenses. Even if my body is cut into pieces and I give up my life, I will never give up chanting the Lord's name. Quite strong, no? So basically, Haridas Thakur, his point was, you can do whatever you want with my body, but I'm not my body. No? I'm an eternal spiritual soul. I have nothing to do with this body. So you may punish this body. Okay, you may do. You may cut this body into pieces, but I will continue to glorify the Lord. That was his very strong conviction. That's why he's a saintly person. He had this love for Krishna. He was very convinced. So what to do? Then they ordered, okay, he's not listening, so let's beat him. And usually when they were beating a person like this, after 1 or 2 marketplaces, a person would die, just because it's so exhausting. But they were beating Haridas Thakur over 22 marketplaces, like whole day. And it's described that those who were beating Haridas, they became like completely desperate, They were like, and at some point they were like telling him, Haridas, if you don't die, then we will die, because we will be punished. Why are you not able to kill this guy? And then Haridas turned to them and said, oh, if my being alive is a problem for you, then I will just go. And he just left his body and died on the spot. Again, also very much compassion. and then what did they do? They took the dead body, presented in front of the ruler, and said, oh, he was such an offender. He doesn't deserve that we cremate his body or that we bury his body. Just throw the body into the river. So they throw the body in the river of Ganges, and Haridas just came back to life and came out of the river and went on the streets and again chanted Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then people really could understand this is a saintly person. So, and if we hear this story, it's quite, it reminds of what happened to Jesus in a sense of, that he was misunderstood because of his preaching. People were, killed him, and he came back to life. From the Vedic point of view, the yogic tradition, there are many examples of great yogis who actually have the power to leave the body and come back later. There are many examples of yogis that were buried under the earth and then they're taken out after some time, and like that. There's a yogic power to do that. And also we know, or we believe, we understand that Jesus actually spent 18 years in India. In the Bible, there is a description of the birth and this description of his preaching at the end, and maybe some mention of his being a youth in the age of 12. But between 12 and 30 there is no description. Only that there's one sentence that he developed his wisdom. Okay, but where? How? With whom? And there is some description that actually he went to India, and then Persia, and then India. And actually he spent, and the amazing thing, where did he spend 6 years? In Jagannath Puri. What is this temple called? New Jagannath Puri. Who is on the altar? Lord Jagannath. So it's interesting, this temple actually has a very close connection to Jesus. Because Jesus, some Christian may not agree, but you can read, there's many books with many evidences that this actually happened. So we understand, or we believe that actually Jesus spent 6 years in Jagannath Puri. That's on the north-east coast of India. This is the biggest temple in North India, and it's a great tradition of Gaudiya Vaishnavism there. And Jesus lived there with the priests and learned about Hindu tradition, and then it's described he went further to Tibet and spent 6 years in Lhasa with the Buddhist monks. And then he came back after some time and did his preaching. So there is a lot of connection between our tradition and Jesus in that sense also. Let me see. Of course, then we have the other example that Prabhupada mentioned is the passing of Nityananda. Nityananda, who is together with Gauranga, were preaching, chanting the holy name of the Lord, and Nityananda would, together with Haridas Thakur, we just spoke about him, they would actually go out from door to door and would ask people, would knock and ask people, please, please sing the names of the Lord, please worship the Lord, and like that. And in the evening they would come back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and would report about their activities. Like sometimes also devotees here, they distribute books and they come back in the evening and then they report to the temple president, how many books did you distribute and how was your experience? So they reported. And one time they came across two very sinful people, and these were Jagai and Madai. And most of you know the pastime, so I'm not going into the details. But these Jagai and Madai, they were very great sinful people. They were, drunkards, they were stealing, they were murdering people, and nobody would dare to go close. So Nityananda thought, well, they are very sinful. If we can deliver them, if they can become devotees of God, then this will be very glorious. So let's try. So they approached them, and what did they do? They immediately attacked them and wanted to kill them. So they had to run away, And because Jagai and Madai were a little, thick, and they were also drunk, and they somehow were not able to catch. And Nityananda and Haridas, they kind of escaped. But Nityananda was complaining, Haridas was complaining about Nityananda, how he's always a madman, has crazy ideas, but then the next day or some days later, they again saw them and they again approached them. And in that time, it happened so that actually Madai became very angry. He picked up a pot in which there was wine, and with all his power crashed it on the head of Nityananda. And then Nityananda started to, bleed, the bleed pouring out from his head, covering his face, his clothes, everything. In my childhood once, someone threw a stone on my head, and then also I only saw red. I already wear glasses, so it was like boom, everything red. So but this was more severe. It was like it was a pot just in front, very severe. And but then Jagai, stopped him. My brother, what you're doing, you can't do that. That goes too far. And we know in the meantime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he was willing to punish Madai for his offense. But when he heard that Jagai actually tried to stop him to do that, then Mahaprabhu showed all compassion to them. And it's also interesting how Nityananda, he also had complete compassion. He told him, "Oh, actually, there is nothing happened." Although he was bleeding like mad, and said, "Oh, nothing happened. Lord, please forgive them." So that's the compassion of these personalities. And we know there is this analogy, and I'm sure many of you have heard that analogy of the sadhu and the scorpion, right? There is a sadhu sits at a little lake pond, and there's a scorpion. He sees a scorpion on a leaf drowning in the water, and that sadhu takes his hand and wants to save the scorpion from drowning. And then what is the scorpion doing? How you say in English? Sting the sadhu in his hand. Oh! And the scorpion falls back into the water. And what does the sadhu do? He again takes his hand and again tries to take out the scorpion. And again a scorpion stings him. And this happened several times. So one of the disciples approaches the Guru and says, "Gurudev, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Don't you get hurt?" And then the sadhu says, "Well, what can I do? The scorpion is just acts according to his nature. No, it's the nature of a scorpion to just sting. And my nature is to help others. So we are both doing our nature. What can be done?" So that's the compassion of a sadhu. That although people don't want to hear from him, although people don't want to, be helped by him, the sadhu still tries to help, and even on the risk that he himself gets hurt. And that these are examples. Haridas Thakur is example, Nityananda is example, and Jesus Christ is also an example. So that's the Karunika, very merciful. And also they're very tolerant. And tolerance is another very an amazing quality, and it's actually a very powerful quality. And there is a nice statement by Saint Francis of Assisi, as we're already in this direction. So he made a nice statement. He says the following: true joy or true success does not lie in the fact that all the bishops, the kings of France and England join us, or that we convert all unbelievers. But what is true joy? And it's, that time they were also preaching and spreading Christianity. So he says, but the true success is not that everyone become Christian. So what is the true success? He described the following scenario: I have come from a long journey. I've come a long journey in the winter, frozen, exhausted, and with a bleeding tibia, like a shinbein, bleeding. My leg is, I'm hurt, injured. Now imagine, long journey, it's frozen, cold, you're hurt, and you come home to your home. But only after a long knocking, a brother opens just to send me away and tell me that I'm not wanted. But, somehow they don't recognize him and just send him away. I say to you, says Francis, if I do not lose my patience and do not become aggressive, that is true joy, true virtue, and salvation of the soul. In other words, if in very difficult circumstances, if I'm able to remain peaceful and not become angry, then that's a sign of true success. Then you have become successful in your life. Because there's many ways you can measure your success. How much money I have on my bank account, how much, what nice car I drive. So many ways I could measure my success, but here it says that true success is if I'm able to tolerate difficult situations. So how can one develop such balance and tolerance? Of course, it's obvious. What would you say? How is it possible that one can become so tolerant? Chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The answer to any question in the Hare Krishna movement. Chant Hare Krishna. Yes, I mean it's true. The holy name will purify the heart and it's true. Faith. To have faith in what? In chanting. Yeah, in God. Okay, to have faith in God. Yes.
Be humble first.
To be humble. Okay, that's an important point. To be humble. If you're proud and think, I'm such an exalted person. How do you dare to treat me like this? It will be difficult to be tolerant, right? But if you're humble, if you're kind of simple, humble, then you're able to tolerate. Yeah, that's a very good point.
We can also practice tolerance in association of these situations where it's difficult, or when we do some services that may be not so menial services like cleaning, or we go out and preach, and there we also learning tolerance.
Okay, we can learn tolerance in the sense that when we come across the challenging situation, and we should remember, okay, now this is an opportunity for me to apply and learn. Yeah, another way to explain it is that only in the deep relationship with God do I develop that inner strength that allows me to survive the turbulence in this world. Only if I'm very deeply rooted in my relationship with God. And in that sense, what you said is all true, because that chanting will allow me to develop a deep relationship with God. And the example is given, like if there's a storm, like these days we had a lot of stormy weather. So sometimes the storm is so heavy that it uproots a tree, and whole trees are uprooted. But that usually means that the tree, the root were not so deep. But if a tree has very deep roots, then the tree cannot be uprooted. So similarly, if our spirituality, our relationship to God or to Krishna is so deep, then whatever happens in this world, we remain equiposed. But yeah, that's easier said than done, right? Should we open the window briefly just to get some fresh air? Thank you. Okay, so this time is almost up. So these were some of the qualities that Jesus Christ certainly manifested and which greatly appreciated, because these are qualities of a true saintly person. So what about the teaching? What did Jesus Christ teach? What would you say? What was the main, teaching of Jesus?
Love God with all thy heart.
Yes, love God with all thy heart. Yeah, that is exactly that. This is from the Bible here, Matthew 22:35. And one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which is the great command in the law of God? And he said him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all laws and the prophets. So that's very straightforward. Now in our Vedic tradition we like sutras or mantras. Sutra is like a truth which is put in the essence, like very concise, or mantra also. So that's very concise teaching, that one should love God and one should love everyone else, right? And this is exactly what we also kind of share, or this is also our understanding. And Prabhupada would used to say that what is the best religion? This question was once put to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he said that religion is the best which teaches his followers to develop pure love of God. That's the best religion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prema Pum Arto Mahan, love of Godhead is the ultimate benediction for all human beings. The test of religion, how much you have developed love of God. That is the best form of religion, which performing one becomes elevated to the devotional service of the Lord. One has to test by the result. Phalena parichiyate. What is the test of the pudding is in the taste? How is it? Test of the pudding is in the taste, something like that. If you really want to know whether the pudding is nice, you have to taste it, right? If you eat, then you know, okay, it's nice pudding. Like in 20 minutes, we will serve a nice vegetarian feast. I can tell you it's a very nice feast. And be sure, because today Ratna Manshri and Shamananda are cooking, our favorite cooks, so it will be a very nice feast. But you may not believe me, but if you taste it, you will agree. Hopefully. I'm quite sure. So, and Prabhupada says that the test of religion is, similarly, the test of religion is in how much someone actually develops love for God. So if I have a religion that actually teaches and helps me to fall in love with God, then I'm fine. But if not, I should do something. So, and Srila Prabhupada speaks about this point also, that the basic principle of a living entity is that we have a general propensity to love someone. No one can live without loving someone else. No one can live without loving someone else. They did these brutal tests. I heard about this test. They did test with newborn babies, and they gave the baby everything except attention, affection, and love. No, they gave milk, but they didn't, and that baby died. So it shows in a very you don't have to test something like this. We know this, but it shows that we need love. Every living entity needs love, and actually, whatever people do in this world, it's all like Bhakti Tirthamraj says. If someone comes to you in an aggressive way, then actually it's a call for love. whatever people do, it's all called for love. Everyone wants love. Sometimes people just don't know how to do it, how to behave, but at the end of the day, everyone wants to be loved and wants to be respected. So, this propensity is present in every living being. Even an animal like a tiger has this loving propensity, at least in a dormant stage. The missing point, however, is where to repose our love so that everyone can become happy. That's the missing point. At the present moment, the human society teaches one to love his country or family or his personal self. But there is no information where to repose the loving propensity so that everyone can become happy. That missing point is Krishna, or God, no, Krishna. The nectar of devotion teaches us how to stimulate our original love for Krishna and how to be situated in that position where we can enjoy our blissful life. No? So that's the point, like that. We because Krishna, Krishna is the object of love. So he is meant to be loved. We are meant to love God. That's why we are created. Like Prabhupada explains, that's the Sanatana Dharma, the original Dharma. Dharma means, the word Dharma is translated as a religion, but actually Dharma means the inherent nature of something. The Dharma of chili is to be hot, spicy, right? And the nature of sugar is to be sweet. The nature of fire is to give heat and light. And the nature of the soul is to love God. That's our nature. But, and it's described just like when you have iron and a magnet, that the iron will be automatically go to the magnet because there is a natural attraction. So the living entity naturally loves God. But when the iron is covered with rust, rust, yeah, then that attraction will not take place. That's why, because we are all rusty, we don't love God. And the process of Krishna consciousness or any spiritual practice actually is to get purified so that our original love again is manifested. And Prabhupada gives many other examples, like if you love God, then you will love all living entities naturally. And that's what Jesus says. You should love God and everyone else. And Prabhupada says, if you have a tree, you can put water on every single leaf. But it's much easier to put water at the root. And then if you put water at the root, naturally all the leaves will be also satisfied. So that's why Krishna is the original object of love. And as we know, Nitya Siddha Krishna Premarupa Dasa Shravanati Sudha Siddha Karya Udhaya, that actually that love of God is already there in the heart. It's not something artificial that comes from outside. It's there in the heart, and it just needs to be awakened. And that awakening process is what Bhakti is all about. Bhakti Yoga means to act in such a way to awaken that original love. So in this way we can see what Jesus Christ gives as an emphasis, as a main teaching, is what certainly Bhakti Yoga is teaching. And there's many different methods how to understand God, how to approach God. There is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and so on, Hatha Yoga. But Bhakti specifically makes a point that God can only be understood by love and devotion. It's by love that God is revealed. And I actually prepared much more, but the time is up. There is many more examples of how the teachings are very similar. When you look at the Bergpredigt, how you say in English, the Bergpredigt? Sermon of the on the Mount. You must know. You studied theology, no? Yeah. So in these teachings we find many other interesting statements by Jesus Christ, which are completely in line with devotional service, such as humility, the importance of humility, such as surrender. Jesus says, "For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of Him who sent me. I have come to do the will of the one who sent me." And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one saintly person in our tradition, he says that all there is that may be indicated by the words I and my I offered at your feet. O Lord, I no longer consider even myself to be mine. Now I have become exclusively yours. My will has become merged with your will. From this day forward, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has completely forgotten himself. That's the same understanding. That the highest perfection of spiritual life is that we actually become completely and transparent instrument in the hands of the Lord, and we fully are in line with God's will. Because at the present moment we have our own desire, and maybe there is some divine plan also for us, but we still hesitate. We still have our own desires, our own ideas. No, I know better, I will do it that way, this way. And I know I can be happy if I do like this, I can be happy if I do that. But Krishna actually says, no, if you do this, you will be happy, but we don't listen. But someone who is actually spiritually advanced, he will align himself with the will of God, and in this way he will become happy. And of course, Srila Prabhupada also embodied this spirit. He says, "O Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. This is Jaladuta prayers. You brought me here to the West. So you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance as you like." That's the spirit. And then also Jesus speaks about how we should not worry about maintaining ourselves. Look at the birds and other animals. They don't take care, but they are maintained. So why should we not be maintained? And that's also an aspect of surrender, sharanagati, that we have the faith that God is always maintaining myself. Like that, we find many ways how the teachings are completely in line with the teachings of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so in summary we can say that certainly when we look at the characteristic of Jesus and we look at the teachings in his life, we can see that certainly he is a sadhu, a saintly person. He is a representative of God, and what he preached is not different from what we also teach. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, and of course, one thing I want to mention is, sometimes Christians say, we just have to believe in Jesus and then we will be saved. And that's true in a sense. If you develop attachment to a sadhu, that will open the door to liberation. That's the Bhagavatam also says, that attachment to a sadhu is very powerful. But then Jesus also said, if you love me, you will keep my commands. Like, if you actually love someone, then you follow the instruction of the person. And there maybe we still have to do some work. And I will end with this statement by Srila Prabhupada. This is from a room conversation with Allen Ginsberg. Prabhupada says, if one loves Krishna, he must love Lord Jesus also. And if one perfectly loves Jesus, he must love Krishna too. If he says, why shall I love Krishna? I shall love Jesus. Then he has no knowledge. And if one says, why should I love Jesus? I shall love Krishna. Then he has no knowledge either. If one understands Krishna, then he will understand Jesus. If one understands Jesus, you'll understand Krishna too. Hare Krishna. That sense, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful days. Yeah. Okay, we'll have like 7 minutes left to maybe for some comments or questions. Yes. Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Premarupa. I have a question. 2 statements you made, I somehow see how to bring them together. On one hand, we hear the example of the tree. We should water the root, and then all the leaves, they get nourished. And you mentioned how whenever we see somebody's, some emotion, anger, envy, it's all a call for love. How do we apply it? Because the first statement could give us the impression, okay, let's say I see somebody angry, let me go and chant Hare Krishna, that will solve that's the solution, I just focus on Krishna. But we know from Prabhupada's life and also Jesus Christ how they interacted with people and how they...
Okay, very good question, yeah. And that sometimes that also Because in Christianity that Nächstenliebe, how you say in English, Nächstenliebe? Yeah, love your neighbor. But yeah, that love for other, like helping others, that plays a very dominant role in Christianity. You know? And sometimes we are accused to be too much focused on only God, and you know, like it's me and God, and they don't care about others. That's their bad karma, their bad luck. Nothing to do with that. Of course, that's a misunderstanding. Because if my heart is full of love, then I feel compassion and I want to help, regardless whether it's their karma or not. But my responsibility is to help. That's one thing. And this statement of that we should first water the root, and then naturally, automatically, the leaves will be satisfied. I would understand it in a sense that the more we establish our connection to God, the more we will be able to actually show love and compassion to others. Like we need to first establish that connection strongly, and then we can actually show that compassion, love to others. Without having first established that connection, you can't really show compassion and love, because you don't have it. God is the source of love. If you're not connected to the source of love, what kind of love can you give? You're not connected. So that would be the understanding. So first connect to the source of love, then you can share and give love. But it goes simultaneously. It's not that we spend our whole life just connecting with God and forget about the rest of the world. No, but side by side, while we connect, as much we are connecting, as much love we receive, as much we can give to others. And that goes side by side. And of course we try to help others and serve others and feel compassion for others. But yeah, we see those who really made a difference in the world were those who actually were very connected with God. And that's why they could give so much, because they had so much. Does it make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, on this topic, there's also a verse in John, I think it says, "A new commandment I give to you, love each other as I have loved you." So it's interesting because you have both, right? You have to have this connection to a Sadguru. So here's the example, as he said, "As I have loved you." So you first have to have this connection to a Sadguru, then you can love.
Okay, very nice point. Yeah, thank you. So Jesus says, "As I have done." So because he gives the example how to love, how to be compassionate, and then we can follow that example. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah. Daya Sagara is an ocean of compassion. It's his name, no? Ocean of compassion.
I have a question about the definition of soul in Bible. Like mostly common definition is that the soul is created when the body is born.
Oh, okay.
But is immortal, like it stays after death in a conscious state and can be revived when bodies again. So
yeah, that's a different lecture. My lecture was Jesus Christ and Krishna consciousness. Your question is for the lecture Christianity and Krishna consciousness. And when we speak about Jesus Christ, then we have many things in common, and we as you saw at the end of the lecture, we said, no, everything is the same. We Bhakti Yoga Ki Jai. But if we speak about Christianity and Krishna consciousness, then we will have many differences, because their theology, their philosophy, the way they understand things is quite different in many ways, and mainly because it's man-made. Because we speak about dogma, like some, And it's interesting, yeah. The Christian understanding of the soul is that actually, at the time of conception, then the soul is created and takes birth, and this is the first and only life. And afterwards, there is either heaven or hell. But soul, in our understanding, soul means eternal. Eternal means there is no beginning and end. So how can a soul be created at some point? Not possible. So the conception of soul is from the very beginning false. It's wrong. It's not proper. So there, yeah. And then of course we could. I do have a presentation on this topic. We could go into all the. Our Raja video has written a book, Reincarnation, and there a whole chapter is about reincarnation in Christianity. And there he kind of very expertly analyzes all the different Christian beliefs and shows how, the understanding needs to be understood from the Vedic point of view. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if someone loves Jesus and is a true follower and actually applies the teachings of Jesus, he's in a good position. But yeah, we are lucky in the Vedic tradition. We not only have Bhakti, devotion, but we also have knowledge. We got the whole Vedic knowledge. And I think that leads us to our next point, because now we will serve Prasadam. And before that, Bhakti Anna will give a little announcement, because that's the wonderful aspect of our Hare Krishna movement or Krishna consciousness, that beside of devotion to God, we also have knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada, our teacher, brought this transcendental knowledge in the form of these wonderful books. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna Premarupa Prabhu, for the lecture. So I just wanted to mention that today is the last day of the Srila Prabhupada book marathon. Every December we have a tradition in our movement that we make an extra endeavor to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And because today is the last day, we have a very special offer. We made some nice present stacks of Srila Prabhupada's books. And for the guests who maybe are not so familiar with the books, Srila Prabhupada, he gave his whole life, his whole heart to give us this knowledge. And all of the books are based on Vedic scriptures. Everything about how to connect with God, how you were explaining. And we have a book table outside of the temple room. Please come. You can also tell which books you want, and I can pack them. And yeah, we have special prices today because it's almost Christmas. So yeah. Also, there is an opportunity to get some books for the printing price, so you can distribute them yourself. And if you don't have the opportunity to distribute them yourself, you can also sponsor them. So you can also contribute to Srila Prabhupada's mission, to our movement, so we can distribute them for you and for the people who don't know about it yet. So yeah, that's it. If you want the information how you can sponsor, you can approach me. I am outside in the entrance hall. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Krishna Premarupa Prabhu, for this wonderful lecture. I was actually thinking, are you here in January? You could give part 2, Christianity and Krishna consciousness. What do you think? Would be nice, no? So we'll try to organize that. Please stay tuned. We have a newsletter, so you get all the information. I think it will be a nice follow-up. We got warm today, but now we maybe need to know a little more. Now there will be prasadam, a vegetarian feast outside. You're all most welcome. And then at 6:15 there will be a japa meditation here. You can learn how to pray on beats. And then 7 o'clock we have our Gora Arati, where we worship the deities, and we're gonna do kirtan and some dancing. And at 8 o'clock there will be kirtan. So have a nice Christmas Eve and a nice holiday. And next Sunday, we are very fortunate that this year we have 24th on a Sunday and also the 31st, which is New Year's Eve. We're gonna have a special program. So we will have the normal Sunday program, like usual, until 9:30, and after that we'll continue. So there will be a small snack after 9:30 to get some strength, and then there will be a fire yagya, a fire ceremony in here with a priest, and we're gonna chant mantras. This should create auspiciousness for the new year. So you and everybody's actually welcome to join in this yagya by active participation. And then we have kirtan, and at 12 o'clock there will be a special midnight arati. So please come and enter the new year in a very uplifting, Krishna conscious way. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Krishna Premarupa Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.